Fall Out Boy is an American rock band from Wilmette, Illinois. They gained mainstream success with their album From Under the Cork Tree. The album won several awards for the band and achieved double platinum status. After a brief hiatus in 2009, the group began working together again in 2013. Their comeback spawned their second #1 album. Join us to learn more about this talented group. When the group began playing, they did not yet have a name. So after the end of the second show, the band members decided to let the audience decide. They had members of the audience yell out name ideas. One suggested Fall Out Boy, that was a reference to the sidekick of Radioactive Man from the television series The Simpsons. The band performed the closing theme song for the 2009 episode called Lisa the Drama Queen. The next year, the band debuted with a self-released demo, and followed with the May 28, 2002 release of Project Rocket/Fall Out Boy Split EP. The EP was released on the small independent label Uprising Records. Uprising released a mini LP called Fall Out Boy's Evening Out with Your Girlfriend in 2003. They recorded the album over a 2-day span early in 2002, and it was released against their wishes.
Oh, here they come. There's Patrick. Oh, good. Follow up. Well, bring him in. Let's just start the interview. Oh, my God. There they are. Here we go. We're ready.
Hi.
Rick and Pete. And where's Joe and Andy? Joe and Andy? Hello, anyone? Oh, it's Joe and Andy. Oh, everyone's here. And you guys, you know, you don't smell like you just had a concert. Hi, Pete.
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
Look at you. I'm warning you now, though. Carla Marie wore her tightest jeans for you guys today. She wanted to be. Look at her.
I can't.
Nice.
Okay, Carla Marie, what are you feeling right now? Let's make this about Carla Marie.
No, please, let's not. But obsessed with you guys for years. And like I just said, when you went on your hiatus, it was like being dumped. Like, I cried.
She cried.
And Monday, it was like we got back together.
It was personal, though.
It was very
We meant it personal.
I know
Hey, I have a question.
To you.
Would all you guys do Carla Marie?
Oh, really? I mean...
Well, it's the obvious thing everybody wants to know.
We're seeing this from a sitting position. It's hard to make a
Okay, stand up.
assessment.
She wore her tightest jeans. I didn't know she was a girl till today. All right, we don't mean to... Okay. Look, last night, Webster Hall, how'd the show go? How you guys feeling about everything?
Awesome.
It was great, yeah.
Yeah? I mean, what do we call it? A hiatus? Did you break up for 3 years, or was it, let's just relax for 3 years? I mean, can you define it? Or does
I mean, I just say hiatus, but the thing is that, you know, when you say now, that word means...
It was
like,
on ice.
Like, it's funny because indefinite hiatus, indefinite doesn't even really need to be there. It's kind of superfluous.
Right.
But, yeah, that's all it was. We were just hanging out. We were just taking a break.
You guys all look so different than last time we saw you. I mean, Patrick's lost a lot of weight. And look at you, Pete. Pete's a man now. You're a man.
What happened?
I don't know. And Andy's hair is like parted on the side. Joe's
It's also short.
Joe's the only one who's still kind of freaky.
Plastic surgery.
But it's only been 3 years though. But it just seems, you know, I don't know. In rock and roll, 3 years is a long time.
It is.
For
Yeah.
the fans, it is.
Or like even in just culture, pop culture now moves so fast.
Right.
It's like double that. You know, like people have like YouTube attention spans now. So
Well, you're a part of that.
Yeah.
Because I know, Pete, you're always online. You're sort of a student of pop culture and YouTube and everything going on.
yes, I don't know if I'm passing.
I'm sorry, he wasn't listening due to his YouTube attention span.
This is what I want to know. When a group, and we don't want to make it all about you guys breaking up, but it's a big deal that you're back together. When you guys split up for a period of time, do you have any contact with each other, or is it more like a breakup where you're like, I really miss you?
Definitely have contact.
You
with each other.
do.
That's the thing, is that like that was also kind of hard to explain to people, where it's like it's not like we just weren't touring. It's not like we didn't hang out for 4 years.
So you weren't like sitting at home with a single tear running down your cheek saying, I miss everyone.
Just finishing off a tub of Ben and Jerry's by myself. Like,
I know, but you know, as fans, we need to think the worst happened. Oh my God, they must have had a massive a massive like fight.
Fallout. Well, Fallout.
Yeah, like a big Aerosmith
Wait a minute,
fight.
I get it. I get that part.
It's really funny how we need to think that, but that's not what it was at all. I mean, look, I don't want to dwell on then and where you were. We also got to talk about where you are now and where you're going. I mean, you kicked off the new album. You kicked it off with a show in Chicago. You did Webster Hall here in New York last night. Yeah. You're rolling into L.A. today. Mm-hmm. Are you guys ready for this again? I mean, this is a lot of work, and I don't know. I'm worried about you.
Thank you. I am worried about me as well.
Seriously, Fall Out Boy back at it again. I mean, is it part of the reason why you took a rest because of the grueling schedule? Was that it?
I mean, yeah, it is grueling, and it's pretty much always been that way since we started. That's one of the things that's so funny is people always ask me, when did you guys know that you made it? And I'm like, I don't know, because if we made it, like when we were on like magazine covers and TV and stuff, we like weren't anywhere where we could see TV,
right?
Or like because we were just busy. So I don't know.
I think we were just like. Weren't able to see the forest for the trees because we were so busy, just in the thick of everything all the time. We were moving constantly, not being able to actually enjoy those fruits of the labor, so to speak.
Well, so you had 3 years to enjoy your fruit, your labor fruit.
A lot of fruit.
I don't know.
So much fruit.
Was it tasty?
I was like doing other bands and like touring. I don't think I let myself enjoy anything.
Right.
I don't think I could ever live in the moment.
Oh, now you're depressing me. I'm all sad.
Don't worry, dude. It's all good.
It's all good. But now, for instance, when you did your show in Chicago, when you brought it back to life, I mean, what did it feel like when you walked out on stage and you hit the first note and you pushed the play button and you made it happen?
I mean, I think that it felt, if we could take it back to when we first started jamming a couple months ago in Patrick's studio or whatever, and when we did that, it felt like to me like a bad Fall Out Boy cover band where you're like, oh, that kind of they kind of like look like them, but like not quite right, and the songs just sound like, oh wow, that's like Cuyahoga Falls' best version of Fall Out Boy or whatever. But I mean, last night and Chicago felt insane. It felt like not a beat was skipped between last time we played.
That's nice. If you're turning us on, Fall Out Boys here. Hey, and I'm wondering what it's like when you're doing a show, and it's a very important show because I'm assuming the beginning of the tour is very important, these shows for you guys. Do you feel like you're flying? I mean, what's the feel like on stage? Is it a high? Do you feel like you're high on some kind of weird drug? I mean, what does it feel like?
No, that was just the drugs that I was
it's a drug.
It's the weird drug.
Well, I mean, when you're up on stage, look, we're here in our office doing our show. This is our job. This is what we do. Does it feel like a job? I mean, what does it feel like when you're performing for your fans?
I feel like, to me, the thing that I think like 5 minutes before every time we go on, I'm like, oh wait, maybe it's just all over. Maybe no one's gonna. Maybe they just like don't care at all. And then so like I think it's set. The bar for me is set so low that like when people like there's like, when we played in Chicago, there's just like dudes in beards stage diving, and I was like, whoa, this is weird. This is crazy.
Right.
Yeah. My feeling's disbelief. Like it's like, why is this happening every time? Pretty much.
You don't feel like you deserve it? Really?
I think if we felt like we deserved it, we'd be jerks. Because it's like people are really nice to us, and I want to let that go to my head.
All right, no jerking allowed. Don't jerk yourself. Well, yeah, Danielle, because we had a fun time. We're looking at watching the news. We knew you guys were coming up today.
Yeah.
And to tell them the story.
I thought it was so funny that I had booked you to come back up here, and the next day, one of you made an announcement that you're not getting back together. So I come in the room, I go, I just booked them yesterday. What is he talking about? I go, he's lying to us.
Yeah,
but they told me I couldn't say anything. They said I had to keep quiet.
Like the truth is, so I was in Chicago, and the night before the show in Chicago, and I got asked about it on a red carpet, and I didn't feel comfortable lying, so I said I wouldn't hold your breath. That was my words, because I was like...
Because holding your breath for 24 hours would suck.
Would be crazy. But at the same time, we thought about how people, like, if we were fans, I mean, and Patrick said it best, like, we are fans of Fall Out Boy, like, how would we want this to happen? And so that's why we kind of designed it, where we were like, we're going to put out a song, we're going to play shows, we're going to, like, put it all out there right away, but we wanted to do it on our terms. It would have been like crazy if like I wouldn't be here right now. They would have murdered me if on the red carpet I'm like, yeah, we're coming back tomorrow. Cool, dude. see you then. The song's up at like 9 a.m. Like I would have been murdered.
Okay.
So there's still a lot of political crap that you have to deal with.
You know, I don't think it's political necessarily, because I don't feel like the internet age has gotten even crazier, where it's like people feel entitled to be like, oh, I'm just scooping you on absolutely everything you're doing, and scooping you completely wrong. Like we were, rehearsing in California, and paparazzi caught me and Andy, and they were like, oh, I hope this guy spills his like coffee on himself. I'm like, it's insane that they're sitting on like probably the biggest story about us right now, and they don't like, there was no like connect the dots, like, oh, then maybe like these guys are like, why are they hanging out together outside by a studio? You know?
Yeah. Well, no surprises there. That's the press. What are you going to do? But it's good. It's just great to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us.
And, you know, your music is always just so solid. We've always been huge fans of yours. And the thing is, when you have an album coming out, any album, one of the previous albums, this one included, is there that fright? Because I feel it with you, especially Pete, things you've said so far. There's that fright that no one's gonna want it. No one's gonna like it.
Well, the thing is that I was talking about this the other day. We were in the studio, and I get real stressed. You know, it's like in the studio, I'm a tortured artist. You know, and
we're like your Pomeranian, just like pacing around, like, so please, someone pick me up and pet me.
Oh.
And thanks. Anyway, but I get all like freaked out. And they're like, dude, do you ever have fun in the studio? I'm like, kind of no, I don't have fun in the studio. I have a lot of fun when it's almost like being a chef, and when you cook something and then you see somebody enjoy it, that's when you're like the happiest with it.
Right.
And it's like, so until I get the first, you know, hey, I like the new song, I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. Like,
right.
it's gonna, you know.
You know, there's a lot of people who haven't even heard the single yet. We're going to play it in a second.
Oh, awesome.
We got to get that on. Let me just tell you what you're up to. Yes, what's up? Yeah, Froggy's. See this guy in the camera here?
Shadow.
Do you ever
I'm
watch
the banker.
He's
Is
the
that a
banker.
ghost?
It's the banker on a Deal or No Deal. He's in our Miami studio. You have a question for the guys from Fall Out Boy?
Yeah, I do. You guys have been gone for 4 years. Now, when you're making this comeback and you're getting back together and doing your thing, is the music going to change from 4 years ago, or is it a continuance of what you were doing before? Is it a whole new sound?
Yeah, in your opinion, what is so different about this new album?
I mean, we kind of took it back to. We took the things that we felt were the strongest about ourselves over the course of, because I think our music always kind of changed from record to record. So I think we looked at like what were the what was the connective tissue, what was the stuff that really meant something, that mattered, and what would that sound like now? We wanted to kind of imagine if we were a new band, if we were 18 again, and like we were starting out, what would that Fall Out Boy sound like? So it's kind of like that, I think.
Excellent. Well, let me tell you. You got a lot of stuff on your list. I can't believe this tour. Look at this. Look at these dates. Look at that. Really?
Wow.
It's a whole page. Of course, Chicago last night was Webster Hall in New York, the Roxy in LA tomorrow night. The full tour begins in May, right? Milwaukee is where you start. You end in the UK. Of course, for our listening audience, you'll be in Milwaukee, New York City, Philly, Atlanta, Miami. How you do it? Where's your guy liner?
We haven't taken it out of the vault yet.
All right.
We don't have all the codes. We haven't.
Cryogenic stasis.
Any thoughts of the current state of music since your 3 years when you did your last project? What's changed since then in music? In your opinion, are you liking it? Is there anything good going on?
To me, I think there is cool stuff. A couple things that I saw that I thought changed is the playing field's even. Like, you see kids can just do stuff in their bedroom now. You know, like if it's Madeon or Skrillex or something like that, you're able to, at your house, produce music that people can fall in love with. And then another thing that was cool is cool to see Fun and Gaudier and different stuff on pop radio to me. Like, you know, like that's kind of exciting, and hearing guitars and stuff like that. And I was going to say earlier about what you were saying, like what's going to be different and how do you feel? Like, I mean, I think, yeah, I personally get nervous about people coming to the shows and stuff, but it's like no fear as far as putting out new music, because like, what is the expectation? It's like, who knows? What would Fall Out Boy sound like in 2013? Like, we've had to figure that out in the studio, and like, to me, it has to integrate what people loved about Fall Out Boy, but it can't sound like Fall Out Boy in 2006. It just won't. It doesn't make sense. Like, we could have done Sugar We're Going Down 5 times, and we've never done that. We're not that band.
When we say do, we mean we could have plagiarized ourselves a bunch of times, and I think that's like a disservice to that material. It's almost like, you know, That'd be, it's ironic because I think a lot of people wouldn't feel it that way, but I would think that'd be selling out because it'd be like, hey, you liked this, buy more of this. You know?
Right. No, I got it. If you have an opportunity to see Fall Out Boy when they come to town, all four of you guys, when you all four hit the stage, it really is a magical experience. And it's so cool to have you back where you belong in New York City. Hello.
Yeah.
Pete, I miss you. We used to talk every once in a while on texting.
Nobu.
I know.
Tennis.
Cocktails.
Tennis.
Are you still partying really hard? Are you still drinking pretty hard?
I party about 3 to 4 days of the week. The other 4 or 3, I'm dad mode, so I'm up very early and doing
daddy.
whatever. Yeah.
May I call you daddy?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, excellent. Okay, let me give it to you. Of course, Save Rock and Roll doesn't come out till May 7th, but Light 'Em Up is available now, and we're going to play it. Fall Out Boy, thank you guys for coming in today.
Thanks again.
Excellent.
This period of time was before any mainstream success, and the band was still playing small shows as part of the indie rock underground music scene in Chicago. Stump and Wentz collaborated together on the lyrics for their first album. While they were making the album, the band slept on the floor of a stranger's house for 2 weeks. They ran out of money halfway through the recording and asked the studio, which had been giving them soda, to give small amounts of food instead. Fall Out Boy signed with the major label Island Records as part of their deal with Fueled by Ramen mid-2003. While working on recording their mainstream debut album, the group released the acoustic EP/DVD called My Heart Will Always Be the B-Side to My Tongue. Released through Fueled by Ramen on May 18, 2004, the album debuted at number 153 on the Billboard 200. It was their first entry onto the chart. Wentz, as the band's primary lyricist, and Stump as the primary composer, worked together to create the follow-up album To Take This to Your Grave, late in 2004. There was a serious setback in February of 2005, when Wentz, under a lot of stress and anxiety about creating a new record, attempted suicide. Wentz said of this time, "It was overwhelming. I was either totally anxious or totally depressed. It is particularly overwhelming when you are on the cusp of doing something very big and thinking that it will be a big flop. I was racked with self-doubt." Wentz went to therapy and was able to join his bandmates in California to finish recording the album. The album, From Under the Cork Tree, released on May 3, 2005, and became a mainstream success.
Who were the first artists and bands that made you want to be in a band?
I think mine was weird. I was watching the Winter Olympics one year, and this Russian ice skater, Katerina Witt, was skating to Michael Jackson Bad.
Oh,
I was
right.
like, yeah, and I was like, I think I want to do this. But it turned out it was not ice skating, so.
Same answer as Gio from Deftones. Funny how, like, often with rock bands.
Yeah, a lot of ice skating. Yeah. My dad was a musician, so it was kind of I don't know that I really had the. It was just a thing that you do.
Right.
I didn't really have any. I guess I remember at some point. I remember singing along to the radio and my parents teasing me because they said I sounded like Elvis Costello, and I was like, okay, I like him. And so I ended up listening to a lot of Elvis Costello when I was a kid. So.
And so in the initial days of Fall Out Boy, how did you come? Because obviously because of Armour and Jealous, and you all came from hardcore bands. How did the decision come to be, or how did a more melodic pasture come to be at that point in time?
I think that. Yeah, it was so long ago now. I think we were like, for us, a lot of the norm was just really heavy music. And so at the time, to be different, it was like, let's do something that's like more melodic, that's just fun. Like, it was honestly like, let's just do something that's fun to do.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like the scene in Chicago at the time, and I mean, the hardcore scene always goes in these waves, and we just happened to hit this wave where I think we had gotten into hardcore bands for a lot of the expression and a lot of for some of us, I think the politics and stuff, some of those things were really important to us, and we hit this wave where those things just weren't cool anymore.
Right.
And it was like, and it was like a lot of dudes fighting each other, a lot of big dudes fighting each other. And it's like
ninja dance moves.
Yeah, exactly. And I know TV might add a little bit of height as well as weight, but we're not fit for that. We're pretty short dudes. We're not really built for it. So it was kind of, and there was also a little bit of a joke with it where it's like, oh, what's the toughest thing we could do? We're gonna sing. We're gonna sing all pretty. So.
And even then, was the aim to be different to everything else that was around at that time, especially in kind of pop punk fields. It was like 9 years on from Dookie. It kind of had the same hardcore sensibilities as like Newfound Glory were blowing up around that time, but not really. Was the aim to step into that world, but to still be different to everything else that was going on at that time?
I mean, I think when you start doing any kind of art, you're doing like impressions, or whatever, and when you do them wrong is when you start discovering your path or whatever. I think Patrick's voice didn't really sound like anyone's voice at the time, so it was like, oh, I guess this is what our band sounds like.
It was weird because what we got, we would get kind of blasted for my voice and stuff and the way that we sounded. We weren't. That was kind of one of the. We ended up kind of being this weird little 4-person island of misfit toys because the proper pop punk infrastructure of bands around town didn't really want to mess with us. They didn't really like us very much. Our hardcore band friends would put us on shows. They were really supportive, but it was we really just wanted to come to mosh. We don't really want to see you guys sing. And then the proper. I always laugh anytime someone now the term emo has lived on and grown and changed. But at the time there was this emo thing in the Midwest. I mean the Midwest emo thing hated us. Did not want that scene. Didn't want anything to do with us. So we kind of just found ourselves like this one little band that we couldn't really find a place anywhere.
The little band that couldn't.
The little band that couldn't. Yeah, exactly.
But listening to all of that now, does it seem insane that 10 years on that Take This to Your Grave is seen as this seminal, beloved record? A load of my friends, the second that the hiatus ended this year's was 10th anniversary Take This to Your Grave shows then.
Yeah.
Is it crazy that it's become such a seminal, important record for so many people?
I guess the interesting thing about it is I think lots of bands set out to make seminal records or make these grand records that will be, I don't know,
revered.
Or whatever. But we weren't. It was we were living on a dorm room floor of a girl that we met the day we drove to Madison, Wisconsin. It was just. We recorded all the songs we knew, basically. It was maybe that's how those things happen sometimes.
I felt like bands like Newfound Glory or Saves the Day or, I guess to a lesser extent, Lifetime, because they were a little bit more ingrained in hardcore. But I feel like those bands kind of made it, felt like they set the tone for it to be cool to be on the outside a little bit and not really, because all those bands were playing with hardcore bands or whatever, or playing playing these other shows that and not sounding like the other bands that they were playing with, and that kind of I think that kind of helped us feel comfortable with freeing ourselves to just kind of do our thing. So when we came to the album, it was we just wanted to make the best album we could at the time. We had an album that we recorded, but it wasn't really. We recorded it in 2 days with basically on less than shoestring budget, and didn't really know what we were doing, and so we really all we wanted to do with Take This to Your Grave was sit down and properly make an album, kind of sound like the band that we thought we were. So for it to be this relevant to people 10 years later is crazy,
When it came to From Under the Cork Tree, did you think you let people know pretty early on that you were willing to progress? There was things like Dance Dance having a funkier groove to it, and Sophomore Slump had that kind of a strut that wasn't there on Take This to Your Grave. It was quite, not a drastic step, but there were quite a few semi-drastic steps.
I mean, a lot of Take This to Your Grave had been me and Patrick kind of butting heads on what our own perspectives or tastes were, and mine were at the time super limited. I'd listened to 4 hardcore records or something, and I think as we toured and we were in the van together, I remember Patrick actually playing the Dance Dance bass line, I think on an acoustic guitar somewhere out west, like in Montana.
Yeah, I actually wrote that.
somewhere.
I wrote that bass line in the van on an acoustic guitar in Montana or somewhere like that.
So for some of that stuff, I think it was kind of like us moving into Patrick's, like understanding Patrick's influence and Patrick, each record maturing as a songwriter. I feel like, I mean, Take This to Your Grave is great. Some of the songs are like, I would put in quotes calling them songs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think Take This to Your Grave has that kind of magic of we had a lot of. It's in no small part to Sean O'Keefe, who was really, really looking out for that record. There's a lot of songs that we came in with that he was, that I don't think would have made it if
I'm not sure I knew what the word bridge meant at the time. So it's got a bridge in it. I'm like, I don't know.
So we're going to the bridge here. So you're gonna slow down and play a different key, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the thing I had a very strong feeling going into Cork Tree that if we were ever gonna do anything other than Take This to Your Grave 100 times. We were going to have to do it on Cork Tree. We were going to have to set the tone then. Because I remember like it's such a little thing, but the falsetto that I did on Saturday on the Take This to Your Grave song Saturday, that was like weird and scary at the time for me and for the band, I guess, because that wasn't what you did in pop punk, right? That wasn't what was acceptable. So I thought to myself before doing Cork Tree, I was like, we're only going to get a chance to do this once. We're only going to get to be, we're only going to get to follow up a big indie record on a major label debut once. And it either sinks or swims. And that's kind of fate. You can't really plan that. But if we're only doing this once, I want to try and establish that we want to be something more than that. Because that's something we want to, not more than, but we want to have the capacity to move and change when, as we feel fit, because I knew that's who we were. I knew knowing the four of us, that we were always going to be flowing and trying different things.
Because Take This to Your Grave was huge for us at the time, but we were like the biggest fish in the littlest pond. But we didn't know anything better, or we didn't know anything, not better, we didn't know anything different, But when we did have the chance to make that leap, there was a lot that felt like serendipity. Like I remember the label was like, Dance Dance, first single. And I'm not sure, like, even now, I'm not sure if we had done Dance Dance as the first single, that it would have worked.
I think a crazy jump for like people who were into Take This to Your Grave.
I think Sugar offered that transition.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, you can't tell me that people at the time heard Sugar and were like, I hear this on pop radio,
Yeah.
I was talking to a kid the other day, and I was asking what their favorite songs were, and they said, the stuff from Take This to Your Grave, or this song from, I really like Come Hallelujah from Infinity. I didn't really care for, Dance Dance and all the other stuff. It was so pop and radio. And I was like, that's just funny to me because at the time, that being on radio was like the craziest, like, because I can't, Dance Dance was like, I couldn't imagine anyone wanting that song, like, aside from us. We loved that song. It didn't sound like what other bands sounded like, and it didn't sound like what radio sounded like. So I was like, we kind of threw it out there into the world, like, hope you don't hate this.
I think that there's some kind of magic sometimes when you go see a rock band or whatever kind of band, when you're like, oh, it's that drum part. This is my favorite song. Yeah. And both Sugar and Dance Dance had those because of Patrick,
And the transitional period between then, like, it was like when the record blew up, you were on Warped Tour. So it was kind of like still in our world, even though the rest like outside of rock and metal were finding out about you. How was that summer when it was like you guys and Mike M's, like, but like, it must have been insane.
It was crazy because I remember, like, I think that when we went into playing Warped Tour, it was like, yeah, these guys are kind of whatever, you know, and then it started getting bigger than that, like we started, like, I remember we were at a water park when it went to, when Sugar went to number 2 in the U.S. or number 1 with videos in the U.S., and I remember being like, we were going down the slides, standing up and stuff. Was like, it just seems like we can do all this and it's okay. But I don't know. It was weird. I mean, I remember getting off the bus to brush my teeth, and I was just like a line of kids off the bus, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna get back on the bus. It was real weird.
Whoa.
I just remember thinking, how weird it was that, because I feel like there was some weird little moment. I can't remember if it was like Tommy Lee might have mentioned sugar in an interview or something like that. Like somebody, I think it was Tommy Lee might have been the first one that I heard, but somebody properly famous had mentioned one of our songs or something, and I was like, oh, this is weird because we, like, as I was saying, we always kind of felt like outsiders in the proper pop punk establishment. We were just finally feeling like we were settling in there, finally like feeling like people were kind of understanding who we were in punk rock, and all of a sudden, pretty quickly it was, then it was the next fish out of water thing of like, okay, now you're gonna be on TV and you're gonna be really awkward.
Real awkward.
You touched on it there about things like coming out of the bus and there being lines of kids waiting for you. Like as a group of people, and especially for yourself on this one, Pete, were you ready for the level of intensity that it got to in terms of like fame outside of music?
I think that for whatever reason, especially, I mean, just how it's all set up, like people rarely like whisper in your ear and are like, hey, you're doing it wrong. Because everyone's like, well, I don't want this guy, so no one ever, like...
Yeah, the hot potatoes bouncing around.
Yeah. But I mean, I think probably in hushed tones, people probably are like, he's doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong.
Right.
Or whatever. So, no, and some of it was fun, and some of it, I was talking to Patrick about it. I mean, like, I think that I, at the time, had this propensity to just kind of, like, oh, they don't want me or us to do this? Like, we're definitely doing it, And I think that some of that helped the band.
Make sure to wear a shirt in this photo shoot. Like, I will not be wearing a shirt.
And I think some of it helped the band. Some of it's vaguely embarrassing in hindsight. I mean, I think some of the stuff that we did made our band different. Like when we came out and we did even like the Sugar video, it was different. Like we got a zillion treatments that were like, like the boys and the girls are like in the backyard, like they were just whatever the videos were like at the time. And then we had this like Deer Boy one, and we're like, yeah, that one seems right because it's so weird.
In terms of musically as well, on Infinity and High, you spoke about like Dance was weird, but like when it got accepted by that kind of pop radio, did it kind of give you the confidence to kind of push your boundaries even further? I mean, on that record, stuff like Golden, and to a certain extent, I'm Like a Lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Like those songs were like way out there. It was like these boundaries kept going like, well, here they are, and now here they are.
I feel like there was a very defining moment for me leading up to Infinity, which was. We got nominated for a Grammy for Best New Artist for Courtry, and I remember sitting there, and I think Alicia Keys and Stevie Wonder were presenting an award, and Stevie Wonder like sang just a little bit in his presentation, just a tiny bit, and I'm sitting there, and I think it was like behind Chuck D from Public Enemy, and like across the aisle from Elvis Costello, and like. Sting's on the other side or something, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like,
I saw Tom Hanks and I felt at home.
Yes. But I remember that moment was really big for me because I remember thinking like up to that point, I was a drummer that, I only sang because that was the only way that these dudes would let me write songs, and I was like, all right, that's a good give and take. And I was just kind of the band was just a fun thing to do, until I had to, go to school and get a real job, right? And I remember sitting there thinking, I gotta really work at this. Like the fact that like all these people, I know, you can just tell everybody here, it's not taking yourself too seriously, but this is the world of people who actually consider this a craft and take it seriously. And I need to have more pride in the band as a thing than just like, oh yeah, whatever, and so going into Infinity, I was like, I really want to make something that I really pushed myself, but I guess probably the rest of you guys too a little bit. I guess I really wanted to push us to try and do something that took itself as art, I guess.
And then you found Babyface.
And then we, yeah.
I mean, I feel like we always were compelled driven towards outsiders, at least from where we were, from our perspective, you know? So it was like, let's try to get Jay-Z to intro the record. And I think, you know, at the time also, when we did This Ain't a Scene, it was like, you know, our next song is gonna get a pass at radio.
Right.
You know, but why should we put out a song that's gonna, like, let's make this interesting. Let's make, you know, and like, I don't think This Ain't a Scene gets played on radio necessarily if it weren't for Dance Dance and Sugar. But I mean, I think that was always what was important to us, was to drive us to do something different, drive us to have to prove it, have to put one out that, always put one out that counts. You know, like it always has to be like, you know, like I played, you know, different sports throughout my life, and it's like you have to do, in a lot of sports, you have to do every play like that's it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're halfway through the game, you have to, if you don't play it all the way out, you know, like if you couldn't leave it all out there right then like you might not win whatever that is. And to me, that's what This Ain't a Scene was. You know, it was like, we'll put it all out there. This like might be the end, you know, or it might be just the beginning of this.
It's so crazy that you'd be thinking that way when you were like riding the crest of a wave. It says a lot about like the mentality within.
We've always, I think every record we've ever gone into has been, well, this might be the last one, you know, that we get a chance. This might be the last time we get. I remember going into Infinity. Sorry to wrap it up. It's a very long one, but going into Infinity, another thing that we said was, okay, well, this. Hey, you know, we already beat the sophomore slump on the major label debut, but it's like every record was our sophomore slump record, right. You know. So it was like, okay, going into Infinity, now we have to follow up an even bigger success than our first success. This might fail miserably. This might be the last time that a major label pays for strings and horns and things like that.
Yeah.
Go nuts. Do everything that you could possibly do, because this might be it. And so that was another, I think, big thing on the record. Was it was like, yes, choir? Okay, let's get the full choir. Yes, string section? Yes, definitely.
This is the record that I've wanted to ask about the most, because I think it's the most underappreciated record of the last couple of years. Follow Your Due. Patrick, it's kind of well documented that you really took the creative reins on this record. Did it hit hard when it was kind of medium received?
Yeah, it was my Pinkerton, I guess, because whenever you read about how Rivers feels about it, it's actually been. I like to look at older artists to see their reactions to things, to kind of see if there's anything I can learn from it, and that's been a big thing for me, is trying not to feel that way.
Right.
But it was really I put a lot. Obviously, I'm not the lyricist, so I didn't put a lot of personal words into it. But I put a lot of my personality into that record, and it wasn't that it didn't sell. I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
And it did sell, but even so, like I'm not a numbers guy. I don't really care about that stuff. There are some people that really appreciate that record. That's rewarding in and of itself. The thing that was really rough and was a tough thing to really swallow was the people that hated it, and they really hated it, and those people, that's a really tough thing to. So, you know, in our history, kind of, it all ties in. Leading up to this, we had always had detractors and people that didn't like us. I mean, in the first place, we always felt like we were on the outside, but our fans were always in this with us. We were always a collective. It was always the band and our audience there really wasn't a lot of separation. That was never really how we operated, and this was the first time that we ever had fans come up to us and be like, boo, you know, like whatever, and that was a really strange thing to deal with. I think I'm better at. I think I can handle it now, but at the time it was so weird, because it's almost like my Pet Sounds in a little way too, because I really, you know, I hold up and really worked on this record like crazy, and put it out there. Not to say that. It's anywhere near as good a record. I'm just saying, you know, I really worked on this record, and then it didn't, you know, it got some hate from some people, and I was like, ouch.
Did Sorry. Go ahead.
Then, as the voice of dissension, this is where, like, I'll be real, and we're always real about this, is I disagree. And I think I probably had a different perspective because I think I did get to see Patrick take on a different role. I think I saw blogs and places that would not necessarily be critically, would not even take notice of Fall Out Boy. I think that there was some critical praise. I think that the album came out at a strange big turn in the music industry. Like, the internet was like raging in a whole new way. Like, you know, like, that's our first album that we put out in the iTunes era. You know, like, it's like, you know, which is just so crazy, you know. And I think that our band had suffered series of successes and then backlash, success and then backlash. And I think at this point in our career, it was an album that we needed to make. You know, we needed to do something where roles were completely different, where we really stepped out of the box. I had a chance. I did a like commercial thing with Rivers and Travis Barker, and we were like, yeah, blah blah, love Pinkerton. He was shocked. And I was like, you know, like, I think that sometimes those ones that you put a lot of heart into, it's a slow build for people. There wasn't necessarily a sugar on that album. There wasn't necessarily, you know, like, it was a different kind of Fall Out Boy album. It wasn't like rolled out with the same kind of thing. We also changed the date by a month that we released it. And there's a whole lot of hairy things and probably weren't clicking as a band well enough. But I think that a lot of what was kind of, especially like in America, but I think it's a story throughout the world, is people really want to build you up to tear you down, to build you up again. And I think that we were building in a period where people were like, no, we're not tearing you down right now. And I think that whatever my persona in the media was, and then our band's persona in the media, weren't helpful for the record, because we were doing this, we were like, hey, no, we're doing this other thing, we're doing this different thing. People were like, no, you're those guys, and that's that guy. We already know. Like, we were reviewed, we were thought of and talked about based on who we were rather than what the record was.
Right. Has it clouded your own perception of that record now? Like, in 2013, when you look at Foliage, is it something that you're still super proud of, or is it awkward, like, even thinking about it?
It's weird. It's hard. It's kind of like, I don't know. I think, like, when Kanye got up and said George Bush doesn't care about black people, that was probably, the next day was probably a really embarrassing day for him, and it was probably really rough, and a lot of people said a lot of really mean things about him, and he probably took that with him. A lot of people were really proud of him for saying that, and a lot of people really gained a lot of respect for him for saying that. But for him, I wonder sometimes if that was like, if that moment was like, if he's as proud of it as everyone else is of him, because, like, he had to deal with the brunt of it. That's kind of how I feel about Foley, was the reaction was so rough. And the thing is, again, I want to say it wasn't, there were so many people that really did connect with it. And in retrospect, now, I love how Metacritic works, where it's the aggregate score. So the more reviews have been better, so the number keeps going up. So it keeps getting a better review than it did at the time. But I just remember, I'll never forget, there were like 20 or 30 people at this one show, and we go, we're gonna play a new song, and they all flicked us off, and they all booed, whatever.
Brutal.
And that was it for me. Like, that's, every time I think of Foley, that's what I see that image in my mind, and it's really hard to, like, work past that, because it's like, I get it. All the things that you said are absolutely true, but it's like, I gotta muscle through it, you know.
So if we were referring to the band as like as wrestlers, Patrick's always the baby face. He's always like the lover boy, you know, like, so, like, it's always like, woo, and like, I've always been the heel. So, like, they start booing, I'm like, and I'll spit on you. Like, this is awesome. We, like, you know, it's part of it. I don't know. I feel like there were these magical moments on that album that hopefully some people get a chance to hear. I think that, you know, there's Debbie Harry, there's Elvis Costello, there's Lil Wayne singing, you know, like, there's a moment in the studio that I watched live where Patrick and Brendan from Panic sing live, back to back. Like that's bands don't do that in the modern age.
I had to be on kind of a stool to be level with.
Yeah, but you know, but like it was like watching like how bands used to do it, kind of, you know, and stuff like that. And I hope, you know, I think that sometimes as a person growing up, like you're like, I love this music, like that, like, you know, like when you're in high school, you're like, I really love the music. This is like who I am.
Yeah.
And then you get to like college. For me, you get to college and you're like, I need to be into like cooler music because I have cooler friends now and I'm cooler and I'm different. And then you get into like, for me, I got into music that was like way too cool that I was like not even sure I liked. But at the time I like swore by and I was like, all that other stuff I didn't like, you know. And then you get out and you get into the real world and the real world's like not as fun as, you know, college and whatever. And you're like, well, maybe I like that music that helped define me and that I really loved. And I feel like for a lot of our fans, we happened to put out Folie à Deux in that period for them, and they were like, not cool. And we're like, no, but this is our record where we like did some different things, and they were like, not giving it a chance, don't like it.
Now, my songs Know What You Did in the Dark. The thing that I enjoyed about it the most is that if Fall Out Boy were making records throughout the time you've been on hiatus, that song is kind of where I'd imagine you to be now. Like what we were talking about, the boundary pushing and that kind of thing. Was it important to make a record, to put out a song that was very now? There's like no nostalgic throwbacks to what you've done in the past. It's very much a 2013 Fall Out Boy song.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we started talking about doing stuff again and even getting into the ballpark of it, it was always going to be driven by the music, and it needed to be. It was like Fall Out Boy, when Fall Out Boy went away, music was very different. And we were gone for 3 or 4 years, and that, like, when you know, YouTube, the internet, everything got going, that feels like more like 6 or 7 years or 8 years. So I feel like we were like, what would Fall Out Boy sound like in 2013, 2014, and how do we bring some of the things that people just love about Fall Out Boy, but they're these like intangibles, like they can't be things that sounded like that, you know? So.
Yeah, and I feel too like, you know, kind of playing off the Foley thing and that kind of reaction that I had. I think I was a little bit prone to kind of shrink back and kind of maybe call on some older ideas or whatever. And I think you really pushed me to be brave. It was like no. It was like okay, we tried some things and maybe got some negative reactions here and there. But that doesn't mean you should stop trying things, you know. And I think that was kind of a big thing that you really pushed on. Is anytime I turned in an idea that kind of sounded like something we'd done before, it was like, no.
Is that the difference between the first writing session that you guys did when you first tried to get this together and the ones that have ended up being Fall Out Boy Save Rock and Roll then?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the first things that we did, I think that Patrick probably wrote with me as a favor because he knew like I was just going through stuff, you know, or whatever. But I don't, for myself as a person, I don't feel like, I mean, time is a tough thing because when everyone tells you like things get better with time, you know, in distance, like you're like, well, that doesn't help me right now. But I think that it does help in the way that like you need time.
Where's the magic pill for time?
Yeah. You need time to process. You know what I'm saying? And like you can always like in hindsight you have a better perspective, you know. And I think that was the main difference in those sessions. And to me, in talking to the band and stuff, and you know, we've never been a band that puts out songs that I think people expect or sound like the stuff has sounded. And I think it would be disrespectful to the legacy of all of those records to try and go back and be like, oh, here's the like 2.0 version of it. You know, like you liked it then, and then you'll kind of like it now, you know, or whatever. So.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be disrespectful. I love Take This to Your Grave too much. I love Cork Tree too much to just go through like a pantomime of what we would think you would want from that. Like we want to make another record that hopefully you connect with eventually, you know.
And again, like when we look at all those first singles that come from the record, there's been no such thing as like kind of throwing them in deeply, like gently. It's like here's the deep end. Here's some concrete shoes to go with it.
Yeah.
Like, but is this song representative of the record, or
I'd say yes, but it's a hard record to represent unilaterally. It's all at once, I'd say, more aggressive than anything we've done, but not in any traditional sense. Like it's not like it doesn't sound that's kind of part of the point. Is it doesn't really sound like hard rock to me. It doesn't sound like a hardcore record or anything. It's kind of a straight ahead pop record, but it might be our most aggressive record that we've ever done.
It like doesn't like I love my songs because like it doesn't seem like it should be on the radio, but at the same time it does. Because of that, maybe it should be on the radio because it's different. And I think the things that kind of warmed us up to even coming back is seeing stuff like Fun and Godier and stuff like that. It's like, wow, different stuff is like popular again. That's cool. Like it's different. And we like seeing, like we've been watching the Grammys and stuff, seeing that stuff be represented and hearing it represented on the radio is really cool. That's like what our band has always been about.
And lyrically, where is this record at? Because like, I mean, the way it seemed to like that, like each record seemed to get more like almost bitter and angry. Like I mean, the one that always stands out on Folly of G for me is Coffees for Closers.
Okay.
And it just like where is it now? Because where you guys disappeared off the radar, it was kind of like you kind of had an idea where the lyrics were going for each record because we were reading about you so regularly.
Right.
Like whereas this time out, it's like I don't know where he's going to come at this one from.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this record is interesting because I did have so after when Fall Out Boy went on hiatus, I was forced to kind of process my life, you know what I'm saying? Because then all of a sudden the people are the yes men are no longer around, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're an adult. You just have to you got to act like an adult, or just go hang up the straps. And so I think that there was a lot of processing as an adult and figuring myself out and being able to like get happy. But at the same time, I think that the cool thing about it is I didn't have anywhere to vent that entire time. So a lot of this allows me the chance to tell my side of a lot of the stories.
Pent up aggression this time?
Pent up slightly.
Like I said, it's a pretty aggressive record, but it's an interesting kind of. I would say to me it's potentially our most brutal lyrically, but it's not. I don't think it's cruel. It's not like that kind of brutality. It's a different thing. It's a different color for us, but it's very. Seems to be a very angry record.
Yeah, I think like in the way that before I think it was. This is what I think it is. It for the first time, I feel like I take into account that like, hey, like maybe some of these problems were mine, and being able to do that, and being able to kind of go inside and take yourself apart a little bit is probably like a helpful thing to do.
And get that off your chest now. Is Fall Out Boy a happy place to be in 2013? Has it been fun? Like, I mean, we're literally like, 2 weeks after the Chicago show. So like, has it been fun, and is fun the aim for the next couple of years?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been crazy. It's a different thing than it ever was, because somehow we're the most united front we've ever been. Like the four of us seem to be on the same page. That's kind of a really, if only that, again, always going into everything that we do, kind of going like, well, this might be it. If this is it, this is pretty awesome. So
if this is the last thing that Fall Out Boy ever do, totally.
This interview.
Yes.
Well, let's hope it don't happen after that. I don't need that on my head.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Fall Out Boy announced on November 20th, 2009, that they would be taking a break for an indefinite amount of time. The members stated that they were unsure what the future of the band would be. Wentz said of his own reasons for taking a break were that he felt his name in marriage to pop singer Ashlee Simpson had become a hindrance for the band. Wentz said, "I think the world needs a little less Pete Wentz." The band has not broken up, but are instead on an indefinite break, decompressing. All of the members stated that they were still friends and had not broken up, but just needed a break from the continuous writing, recording, and touring. Fall Out Boy announced on February 4th, 2013, that they were no longer on break. They announced that there was a new album and upcoming tour. The album was released on April 16th, 2013. Save Rock and Roll debuted at number 1 on the charts. Their Save Rock and Roll tour was scheduled from May 14th, 2013 to June 30th, 2013. Each of the members of the band in their own right are talented and creative. The combination creates memorable music that reaches out to their fans. Keep your eyes on this group, as they are definitely here to stay.
Probably Pete. I mean, it depends. If I'm playing, I've been playing a lot of Star Wars The Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO this tour. So if I'm playing that in the dressing room, I'll be the last because I have to like get in, you know, all my game time. So they'll be like, dude, we gotta go. So it depends. Between me and Pete.
Me. The party guy. Boozing, smoking illegal marijuana cigarettes. You know, who knows what else?
There's no consistency to that. I'd say very often Joe is, but also he can be the first guy on the bus. It just depends on his mood. But it's all if he found somebody, because he's a very social guy. He's very social with other bands and stuff. So when there are other bands, he's like, you know, we have to pull him away, whatever. But when there's nobody else, you get up on the bus and he's like, and you know, you'd be watching TV and he's like trying to sleep and he's like annoyed that you're watching TV kind of thing. So
Patrick, I think. Maybe it's Patrick or Joe. Yeah.
Outside of me, I think Pete's an incredibly intelligent guy. Our band is, I think it's an amazing and frustrating thing about our band is everyone's been so highly intelligent and knows they're highly intelligent. Pete, I think, has this really special thing where he's really good. His level of empathy and foresight, I think, is at a different place. And it's probably maybe having a kid help a lot with that, I think. But he's had his battles, but like overall, the older he's gotten, the more he's been able to really see things from other people's point of views. And like sometimes I'm like, fuck that guy. He's like, well, think about it from that guy's point of view. I mean, he doesn't, you know, so I think that's a whole other kind of level of intelligence that I think a lot of people do not have because they're so much slaves to their emotions.
Ooh, intelligence is a hard thing to quantify. That's, wow. I would say certainly the wisest would probably be Andy, because he has a very great understanding of how he should and should not conduct himself in certain situations. Yeah, I mean, like, because he has this amazing economy of words where he doesn't say a lot that he doesn't think is either going to make everybody laugh or is going to be very important. You know, he's like a sage. So I think Andy's probably the wisest, and that's the most important thing to me in terms of intelligence. But then I'd say, like, I don't know, Pete is something of an English nerd, and Joe is something of a math nerd, and I'm sort of like a trivia nerd, so I don't know.
I mean, Marcus? No, I would say the most musically intelligent would be, I would put it Patrick, and he also knows the most trivia. Like, so if you put him in a room with somebody, he can talk to everybody in the room for a little while.
Me, easily. No, that's a tough one. I think we're all really smart dudes in different ways. What did everyone else say?
So far, everyone's deferring to everybody else.
Yeah, I'll say me then. I mean, come on. I don't know. I'm vegan straight edge, they're not. I'm definitely smarter because of that. That's a superior quality in a man or woman.
I'm sure this has become oft-repeated enough that it's no longer like this big secret surprise fact anymore, but Pete is a really good soccer player, is an excellent soccer player, like was all-state in Illinois and stuff, like I don't know, we've talked about that before? Yes, yeah, so there you go, but you and I haven't, world, so anyway.
I'll put that on Patrick. I think, because it's like,
I don't know. He's just got more talent than everybody, I feel like, maybe. I don't know.
Patrick, for sure. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. Pete's a talented writer in terms of writing words. Patrick is, probably one of the best songwriters I know. Joe's coming to his own. He's an amazing songwriter now. He wrote a lot of stuff on this album, and he's been writing his ass off, for whatever the future is. But I'd say Patrick, just because he's always teaching himself new things, whether it's languages or the trumpet, which isn't good yet, but I'm not learning it, so he wins.
Musically talented, I think everyone would probably say Patrick, just because he's just one of those guys, I've done lots of bands with guys like that, there's always, for a band to work, there needs to be at least one guy like that. His brain is just kind of like made more out of musical connections than it's made out of like regular synapses and blood, whatever a brain's made out of, brain meat. But I think everybody in this band's super talented.
Patrick, which he hates, but if you saw his solo tour, he was pulling out some moves. I don't have moves like that. Pete sure as hell doesn't have moves like that. And Joe is an awkward mess, so it's Patrick.
We had this discussion yesterday. I don't really think anybody in this band is truly a real danceaholic. But Patrick does a very kind of like really entertaining, I think it's kind of good, sort of like James Brownie white dude, kind of like pelvic thrusty dance. I like it. I think it's good. It's definitely on the whiter side of life, but I mean, it's good. Like I like it. I'm not a good dancer. I can do the Charleston like fucking hell, though. But no, I think Patrick probably is the best dancer.
Okay, the other day they threw me under the bus and said I was, and I'm absolutely not. Like I can't dance. But this is the secret about dancing, and this is the only reason that I win by forfeit. Is that all you have to do is just do it, and like that's like half the battle. Like you don't even have to be good at it, but like if you'll just move and make a fool of yourself, like girls are usually just okay with that. So like, and I do that at weddings and parties and things, and no one complains. And they go, "Oh, he's a great day." I'm not though. I know it's very white. It's a very it's a very bleached art form that I mastered. But
man, Patrick, he's like, I'm telling you right now, anyone out there, invite him to your wedding. I promise you will not be disappointed.